The rise and fall of Zimbabwe's dollar, a story of money, power, and collapse. The machine that printed poverty. It was a machine built to make money, but instead, it printed poverty. Imagine walking into a store with a wheelbarrow full of money, only to find out it's not enough to buy a loaf of bread. This wasn't fiction. This was Zimbabwe. The golden years, when Zimbabwe was a powerhouse. Back in 1980, Zimbabwe was one of Africa's strongest economies. A newly independent nation, rich in agriculture, gold, and diamonds. They called it the breadbasket of Africa. With fertile land and a skilled workforce, the future looked unstoppable. But what happens when a nation built on prosperity starts making one fatal mistake? The beginning of the crisis, a bad decision that cost everything. It all started with a decision, one that would change Zimbabwe forever. In the late 1990s, the government seized farms from white landowners and handed them over to people without farming experience. The result? Food production collapsed. A country once exporting food to the world couldn't even feed itself. And when there's no food, there's no economy. The machine starts printing, Zimbabwe's fatal mistake. So how do you pay for things when your economy's crashing? You print more money. The government turned on the money printing machine, hoping it could fix the crisis. But there was a problem. Money only has value if people believe in it. Hyperinflation explodes. When money becomes worthless. By 2008, inflation had reached 89.7 sextillion %. That's an 89 with 20 zeros behind it. Prices doubled every 24 hours. The Zimbabwean government printed a $100 trillion bill, but it wasn't enough to buy a bus ticket. People stopped counting money. They waited. Entire life savings became worthless overnight. The fall of the Zimbabwean dollar, a nation gives up on its own money. By 2009, Zimbabwe had no choice. It abandoned its own currency and switched to using the US dollar, South African rand, and even bartering. The once powerful Zimbabwean dollar was dead. A government that tried to print its way out of trouble had printed itself into economic disaster. A warning to the world, the lessons from Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe's story is a warning. When a government prints money without control, the result isn't wealth, it's economic collapse. From Germany in the 1920s to Venezuela in the 2010s. The lesson is always the same. Money alone doesn't create value. Trust does. What happens next? Zimbabwe tried bringing its currency back in 2019, but inflation returned. The money printing machine was turned on again, and history started repeating itself. The question is, will Zimbabwe ever break the cycle? Or will it remain a nation where money is printed, but never worth a thing? Those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it.